Ever feel like some processes just take, well, forever? Yeah. Especially in something complex like VA loans.
Oh, absolutely. And particularly when a property is, unfortunately heading towards liquidation.
Right. There used to be this potential bottleneck, didn't there? The appraisal part, waiting for central sign-offs.
Exactly. Waiting for that key piece of paper. But that's where the program we're diving into today comes in. It's the Servicer Appraisal Processing Program.
SAPP.
SAPP, yeah. From the Department of Veterans Affairs. Think of it as a way to streamline things for certain VA loan appraisals in liquidation, trying to speed up those key decisions.
Okay, SAPP. Let's unpack that. It sounds like it could really, shave off some time. So for you listening, wanting the inside track, what is SAPP, basically?
Well, in simple terms, SAPP lets approved servicers, the companies handling VA loans, review liquidation appraisals and issue the notice of value, the NOV.
That's the big one, the value determination.
Right. And they can do this without the VA having to jump in and approve every single one individually. The main goal really is just cutting down the time it takes for servicers to get that NOV.
So the VA is essentially saying, okay, we trust you guys, these specific servicers, to handle this part within our rules.
That's it precisely. And that trust, it works through specific people, VA-approved individuals at these companies. They're called SAPP Staff Appraisal Reviewers.
SARs.
SARs, yes. They're the ones with the actual authority to review the appraisal and issue that NOV. Now, this applies across the U.S., its territories too, but the SARs, they always need to be mindful of any local VA requirements, from their regional loan center, the RLC.
Got it. So it's delegation for efficiency, but with that local context still important. Okay, who gets to be part of this? What does a company, a servicer, need to have to get this SAPP authority?
There are a few main things. First, absolutely crucial, they need their own VA servicer ID number.
Okay, unique ID.
Second, they have to be linked with just one lender, a single lender that also has its own VA lender ID.
Ah, the single lender rule. Why is that important?
Well, it keeps the lines of responsibility clear, prevents a servicer from, say, operating under several different lender umbrellas for SAPP stuff.
Makes sense. And the third thing?
Critically, they need an effective quality control system, a QC system to, make sure their SARs are doing the job right. Right,
oversight. Okay, so that's the company. What about the people doing the work, the SARs? What hoops do they have to jump through to get VA approval?
The requirements for SARs are pretty detailed. First off, you have to be a full-time salaried employee of that specific lender or servicer.
No contractors then?
No, and you need at least 3 years of qualifying experience in administrative appraisal review.
3 years just reviewing appraisals administratively. Wow, that's specific.
It really is. It shows the level of expertise they're looking for. It's not just about doing appraisals, it's about overseeing them.
So what skills does that experience need to show? What are they actually looking for in those 3 years?
Well, they need a solid understanding of, appraisal principles, methods, practices, techniques, the whole toolkit.
The fundamentals.
Exactly. And crucially, they need to be able to look at someone else's appraisal report and spot issues, deviations from standards, VA rules.
Finding the errors.
Finding errors, yeah, like calculation mistakes, but also identifying conclusions that just aren't backed up by the data in the report.
Okay, critical analysis.
Right, and ideally they'd also know about general real estate practices, be good at gathering data, writing clear reports, those sorts of things. Oh, and interestingly, 3 years of experience with the HUD direct endorsement program. That can actually satisfy the appraisal review part if the other criteria are met.
Ah, okay. So experience in a similar federal oversight role counts. Right. Now, are there things that would stop someone? Conflicts of interest, maybe?
Oh, definitely. The VA is very strict here. For instance, you can't be a SAPP SAR if you're also on the VA's fee appraisal panel yourself.
Meaning you're actively doing appraisals for the VA?
Exactly. Can't wear both hats. And you also can't be working for or doing review work for any other lender or servicer while you're an approved SAR for one company. It's all about objectivity.
Right, avoiding any hint of bias. Makes total sense. Okay, so let's say a company and an employee tick all these boxes. How do they actually get the SAPP authority? What's the application look like?
It's a joint thing. A senior officer at the company nominates the person. Both the officer and the nominee have to complete the application forms.
And the nominee needs proof of experience.
Yep. They have to submit a detailed resume showing those 3 years of qualifying review experience. And there's a fee, $100 processing fee with the application.
Okay, application in, fee paid. What's next? Does the VA just approve it?
Not right away. The VA central office reviews everything carefully, the application, the resume, all of it. Then they'll send a letter. It'll either be a preliminary approval or a rejection.
Or maybe a request for more info.
Or more info, exactly. They might need clarification before deciding. If they grant preliminary approval, that lets the nominee move on to the required training.
Training. Okay. And if they get fully approved?
Then the VA issues a permanent SAR ID number. And what's interesting is that number stays with the person.
Not the company.
Nope. Even if they move to a different VA-approved servicer later on, that ID is theirs.
So what if a SAR does change jobs? Does the authority just transfer automatically?
No, it doesn't. If a SAR leaves Company A for Company B, their SAPP authority with Company A stops immediately.
Okay.
Company B then has to apply to get that individual's SAPP authority reinstated under their banner. It means a new application, another $100 fee.
Starting over, kinda.
Well, yes, but the new servicer can ask for a waiver for the formal training and those initial test cases we'll talk about. They just need to include the SAR's ID on the application and confirm the SAR has been actively doing SAPP work within the last year or so.
So recent experience can streamline the reapproval.
Got it.
Yeah. So they've got preliminary approval, they have their SAR ID. Can they now start issuing NOVs on their own?
Not quite yet. That preliminary nod is just step one, really. To get the full authority, the independent authority, there are two more crucial steps.
Okay.
First, they have to successfully complete the official SAPP SAR training that's usually provided by VA central office staff.
Mandatory training. Makes sense. And
Second, they need to successfully complete 5 initial test cases to the VA's satisfaction.
test cases. Like a practical exam.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
These are actual liquidation appraisals. The SAR reviews them using the SAPT rules, but their review gets checked by the staff at the VA regional loan centers.
So the RLC double checks their work on the first few.
Exactly. It's basically the SAR proving they can apply the training correctly in real situations before they get the final sign-off to issue NOVs independently.
Okay, how do these test cases work in practice?
Right, so after training, the SAR can start submitting these. They usually do them one at a time. They'll go into TAS, that's the appraisal system, the VA's platform, and pull a liquidation appraisal for their company. Then they do a full review, check for completeness, industry standards, and especially compliance with VA rules, like those in Chapter 11 of the VA Handbook.
What if they find problems?
Good question. If they have concerns, they must talk to the original appraiser to try and resolve them. And all that communication has to be documented in TAS in the processing notes.
Okay, documentation is key.
Absolutely. After the review, the SAR determines the asset's market value, makes sure it's well supported, and justifies everything, again, in those processing notes. Then they input the data to generate what looks like an NOV in TAS, but it's flagged as a test case. It doesn't actually get issued yet.
Right, it's just for review.
Exactly. The SAR then notifies their local RLC that a test case is ready. RLC staff pull up the appraisal, the documents, the SARS test NOV, the notes, everything, and review it all.
And the RLC makes the final call on those first 5.
Yes. For the test cases, the VA staff at the RLC issue the actual NOV, and they give feedback to the SAR on how they did.
That sounds incredibly thorough. It's clear the VA wants to be really sure about these SARs. Does the learning stop once they pass the tests?
No, not at all. The VA keeps them in the loop. They'll notify SARs about any extra training opportunities or if regulations change and require, more instruction. It's ongoing.
Okay, so they've passed the tests. They're fully fledged SARs. What are the ongoing responsibilities, not just for the SAR, but for the company, to keep this SAPP authority?
Yeah, the VA makes it very clear. SAPP authority is a privilege, not a right. It's granted at their discretion. So servicers have to stay compliant.
Compliant with what exactly?
With all the SAPP rules, VA policies, federal regulations, laws, everything related. And they have to show due diligence, basically, act as carefully with these VA loans as they would if it were their own money on the line.
And if they don't?
Well, if the VA finds they aren't meeting the standards, they can step in. They might amend the agreement, they could suspend the SAPP privileges, or even pull them entirely.
Wow, okay. So use it responsibly or lose it?
Pretty much, yeah. It keeps everyone focused on doing things right.
What about changes within the company? Like ownership, or if a SAR leaves?
They absolutely have to keep the VA informed, notify them about ownership changes, mergers, acquisitions, that sort of thing, and definitely tell the VA immediately if a SAR leaves the company or, for whatever reason, stops acting as a SAR.
When a SAR leaves, their authority just stops.
Instantly terminates, yes. And here's a critical point. if that person was the company's only approved SAR.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the company's whole SAPP eligibility could be terminated right then and there. It really shows how vital these individual SARs are to the servicer's participation.
Definitely underscores their importance. Now, you mentioned the quality control system earlier. Let's dig into that a bit more. What exactly does the VA expect from these QC systems?
They're quite specific. First, the QC function must be independent. It can't be part of the regular loan servicing operations. Needs that separation for objectivity.
Okay, independent oversight.
Right, and the servicer has to be ready to show their QC findings to the VA anytime they ask. Plus, a senior officer has to certify, with every SAR application, that their QC system meets all the VA's requirements.
Who actually does the QC reviews then?
It can be an independent third-party company, or it could be an internal audit team within the servicer, as long as they report directly to, say, the CEO or someone at that top level.
And what qualifications do these QC reviewers need?
They need a basic grasp of appraisal theory and techniques, and crucially, they need the authority to prescribe corrective actions if they find problems, and then follow up to make sure those actions are taken.
Okay. How often do these reviews happen, and how many cases do they look at?
They have to do monthly desk reviews for each active SAR. They need to review at least 5% of that SAR's SAPP cases from that month, or a minimum number VA might specify something like 5 cases, for example.
A regular check-in.
Yes. And importantly, the servicer needs procedures to expand that review scope if they start seeing issues, like a pattern of deficiencies in a SAR's work.
So if problems pop up, they dig deeper.
Exactly. It's not just a fixed percentage, it's responsive.
And what are they looking for in those QC reviews? What's the focus?
2 main things, really. First, the overall quality and thoroughness of the SAR's review itself. Were they diligent? Did they catch potential problems? Are their conclusions logical?
Okay, the quality of the review process.
And second, was the SAR's final decision on the property's reasonable value appropriate? Was it actually justified by the appraisal report and the market data?
Makes sense. It's about the process and the outcome. Accuracy and sound judgment are key, not just speed.
Precisely.
Are there other key parts to these QC systems, the VA mandates?
Yeah, a few more. They need to make sure everyone involved, QC staff, SARS, has easy access to the latest VA regulations, policy updates, directives, all the official guidance.
Keeping everyone on the same page.
Essential. Also, the QC system has to have a formal way to report problems. Deficiencies or negative trends found in audits need to be reported in writing to senior management, maybe even the CEO, usually quarterly.
And then management has to act.
Yes, that's the critical loop. Senior management must take prompt, effective action to fix the problems, document what they did, and communicate those fixes and any new instructions back down to the SARs. Accountability flows up and down.
It sounds like there's even oversight of the VA's own appraisers built in.
That's right. Besides reviewing their own SARs, the servicers also have to do random field reviews of appraisals done by the VA's independent fee panel appraisers.
Field reviews, meaning they actually go look at the property again.
Well, the review itself might be done by the SAR or by another independent appraiser the servicer hires. It's about double-checking the quality of the original fee appraiser's work, and if they find significant problems with a fee appraiser's work,
They report it.
they have to report it formally to the VA Regional Loan Center that manages that particular appraiser. So it helps the VA monitor the quality of its own appraiser panel, too.
Okay, wow, that's a comprehensive system. So we know who's involved, the structure, the oversight. Let's shift to the actual process. When does a SAPP servicer use this for a liquidation appraisal? What properties qualify?
The main trigger is the loan status. The property has to be securing a VA-guaranteed loan that is actively heading towards liquidation or foreclosure. That's when SAPP comes into play for the appraisal.
Got it. And how does the servicer kick off the appraisal request under SAPP?
They start it in TAS, the VA system, using the standard form, VA Form 26-1805. That's the request for determination of reasonable value.
Or standard request form.
Right. Once they submit it in TAS, the system automatically emails the assigned VA fee appraiser to let them know they have the assignment. Oh, and SAPP servicers can also authorize others, like the law firm handling the foreclosure, to order the appraisal for them.
Really? How does that work?
Those third parties, like the law firm, need to be registered in the VA system, the Veterans Information Portal, or VIP as an other requester.
Okay, so the servicer isn't always the one clicking submit what's really important information to get right on that request form.
Accuracy is just vital to avoid delays. On that form 26-1805, item 24, the key location for vacant properties needs to be spot on.
Makes sense. Appraiser needs to get in.
Exactly. And item 40, the contact phone number for whoever's requesting it, that needs to be right too. So if it's the attorney ordering it, the servicer needs to make sure the attorney has the correct specific info.
Communication is key there.
Absolutely. And if one of these authorized agents, like the attorney, requests the appraisal, they use their own VA system login, but they have to identify which SAPP servicer they're doing it for.
Okay.
And then once the appraiser finishes and uploads the report to TAS, it's the agent's job, the attorney in this example, to tell the SAPP servicer or their SAR, hey, the appraisal's ready for you to review.
Got it. Now, property access. That seems like it could be a big hurdle, especially with vacant properties in foreclosure. How is that handled?
Yeah, it can be. The VA requires appraisers to get inside vacant properties for liquidation appraisals. They need a full look.
Understandable.
So if the appraiser has trouble getting in, their first move is to call the number listed in item 40 on the request form.
The contact number.
Right. And the servicer needs to respond quickly if the appraiser calls about access. Delays here can really slow things down.
What if they still can't get in?
If the appraiser tries reasonably and still can't get access, they document all their attempts, and then they notify the VA's construction and evaluation section. CMV then gets the RLC and the servicer involved to sort it out.
So it escalates.
It does, and these delays matter. While the VA might pause the appraiser's clock if they can't get access, they generally see providing access as the servicer's responsibility. So if the whole liquidation sale gets delayed because of access problems the servicer could have fixed, the servicer might actually face interest curtailment.
Meaning they lose out on some interest payments from the VA.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Because the delay was considered within their control. It's all detailed further in Chapter 11, Section 13 of the VA guidelines. Lots on liquidation appraisals there.
So servicers using SAPP really need to be proactive about property access. Okay. Once the SAR gets the appraisal, reviews it,
Yeah.
do they always issue the NOV themselves?
Mostly, that's the goal. But there's an out. If a SAR gets a really complex case, something unusual, or maybe they just feel uncertain about setting the value, they have the option to basically send it up the chain. They can request that the VA Regional Loan Center for that area handle it and issue the NOV instead.
Safety valve for a tricky situation.
Exactly. It ensures there's still a path for those tough calls, even within the SAPP system.
Okay. So bringing this all home, SAPP, the Servicer Appraisal Processing Program, it's really about efficiency, isn't it? Making the liquidation appraisal process faster for VA loans.
That's the core idea, trusting approved servicers through their qualified SARs to handle the NOV process directly.
But, and this seems crucial, it's all happening under VA oversight with these strict quality control rules baked right in.
Precisely. And I think what's really striking is just how seriously the VA takes that oversight. You know, the fact that SAPP authority is a privilege, something that can be suspended or even taken away.
Yeah.
It really emphasizes that even while aiming for speed, maintaining accurate, reliable valuations is paramount. It shows efficiency and accuracy don't have to be opposites.
Absolutely. And for you listening, understanding this SAPP process, it gives valuable context, doesn't it? Especially if you're involved in real estate or mortgages, dealing with VA loans, heading toward liquidation. You kind of see behind the curtain a bit.
It does. And it makes you think, looking ahead, how might programs like SAPP evolve? With more data, better technology, could we see even more efficiency? Or maybe new tools coming in to help with valuation and quality control and the whole VA loan sphere? Something to ponder.